We're good? Okay, cool. All right.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome back, Wokeland.
Welcome back, Wokeland.
Wow.
It's been a whole ass minute.
It's been a whole big ass minute.
Yeah. And remember, like, last season we would say that before every episode.
But this time, this time it's real.
It's for real.
We were gone for a minute. Now we're back with the jump off.
Yeah. It's been like, yeah. How long has it been since we've been in the studio?
Long. It's been about 2 years, I feel like, or close to 2 years since we've been in the studio. And of course, people are going to notice that this is a new format.
We're in a different setup. Okay.
We're in a different situation.
Y'all can actually see us right now. And this is not normal.
This is not normal. This is not Simone-like.
No. First of all, hello. We are the Simones.
You know who we are. You didn't forget about us, did
right.
You
I'm Anayo.
I'm Elsa.
We are Wokeland.
Yes.
And yeah, you guys are so used to hearing us in audio format, just our voices, but we're trying something new. And we thought, we got a lot of feedback about people wanting to see us, know more about us and who we are.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we decided, you know what?
Let's give the people what they want and what they've been asking for. Mm-hmm. So we're here at Stay Diff headquarters.
Yes, in Oakland, California.
Shout out to Stay Diff.
Yes, shout out.
And we're gonna try to make this work.
Yes.
But welcome back. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
It's good to be recording with you like this again.
I know.
We're so like the last, couple 18 months or so, we've been figuring this thing out. We've been figuring out how to be a podcast in this virtual world. We didn't see each other for a while, even though we lived
very
10
close.
minutes. Yeah, very close, 10 minutes away. We were still friends.
Yeah.
But like we weren't recording. We didn't know if we could, especially at the onset of the pandemic. We didn't know what the protocol was.
We didn't know. Yeah. And like our show, obviously we have a lot of guests. We do a lot of interviews. So people have different comfort levels with being in person, especially last year. So we decided to just take a little hiatus, regroup, and pop back up when we felt comfortable to be on the mic again. And so here we are.
And we're comfortable. Are you comfortable?
I mean, we dipping our toes back in or whatever. Like, it's a comfortable discomfort.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The mic, I feel comfortable. The camera.
It's the cameras.
I'm, it's a little different.
Yeah, we're warming up to that. But we're back. We're back, Wokeland. And we've missed you, and we've done the best that we can to give you content and programming still and interviews throughout the last 18 months. But we're back with season 3, episode 1.
Yes.
Entitled Aftermath of 2020. Right?
Yeah. And
the new normal is not normal.
It's not.
And we got to get into some things.
Yeah. So the last time we talked to y'all officially on the show, it was 2020. It was 2020. And we had spoken to, I believe, a medical professional, and we talked to Councilwoman Lynette.
Yes. I think she was Councilwoman of District 3.
District 3, West Oakland, about just like how the city of Oakland is, taking care of its people, what are some of the protocols that are happening, and just learning what the facts are about COVID. And so that was 2020. And so now it's 2021 and we're not really out of this pandemic, Panasonic, Panini.
We're not.
We're really not. It's low key, like, season 2. So yeah, like what, girl,
season 2. It's season 2 of the pandemic.
It's season 2 of the pandemic. Yeah. So what for you, what you been up to?
What was season 1 like? We got to
Right. What was season 1 like? And what are you doing now in season 2?
Wow. Season 1 was difficult. Just like I'm sure for many people. I was in West Oakland, season 1. Mm-hmm. Season 2, I'm no longer in Oakland. So that's a big change.
Big change. And she gonna talk about it.
I'm gonna talk about it. I know you're gonna make me talk about it. Season 1 was very difficult for me. Being in West Oakland and seeing, just processing what this new world was like. Of course, initially it was kind of exciting to be able to like work from home.
Yeah.
When we were summoned, London Breed, I think, to be fair to her, I think she did a really good job. And I think she had like an emergency. She called a state of emergency for the district of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And so I think we were all sent home from my office. And first I was like, all right, this could be cute.
Yeah, it was cute. We were like, we're gonna go home for a few weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna go home for a few weeks. We don't know what's going on. It's like this virus thing, and and then we'll go back in, and everything will be back to normal. And little did we know there was no normal,
right?
And there still isn't any normal. But yeah, as the months progressed, especially like throughout the summertime, your girl was not okay. Season 1 was not. It was rough.
It got rough.
It got rough. It got rough to be, and I think in an already like abandoned neighborhood, in a neighborhood that was also suffering prior to the pandemic.
Yes.
See the tension, see the stress in people in that way, and see it. And of course, the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and all of those things having ripple effects in the town and then throughout the country. It was like really hard to witness and process. So your girl spends a lot of time by herself in her own head, in her thoughts, in her
so
apartment. So many thoughts. And it just seemed like I was just so out of alignment, like physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I was like in all these different places.
Yeah.
And leading into season 2, there was a pretty big shift and change. Throughout all this madness, I somehow was able to purchase a home.
Yes.
It was something that I had. Thank you so much. You are thank you. You are far too kind.
Yes.
And it was something that I had wanted to do, but didn't know how likely it was to happen. And it happened, and it changed my location. So I'm now in the South Bay. I'm much closer to family. And I didn't even realize how much that was going to help kind of shift my energy, and
family
while
was everything
and Oakland is only like 45 50 minutes away from the South Bay, in particular where I am, but being 10 minutes away or an 8-minute drive from my parents and the rest of my family was super important to like healing and getting myself more aligned. So I'll say that season 2 still hasn't been, easy. We know what happened at the start of this year, January 6th.
Child, we gonna get into that.
There's so much madness that has still occurred in season 2, but I can say that I'm certainly more aligned. So your girl is doing better. We on the up.
We love to see alignment.
Yes. And what about you? What's going on with you, girl? I know what's going on, but the people need to know what's going on.
The people need to know.
Yes.
So similar to you, and I'm sure similar to everybody, like, the beginning of the pandemic, we were like, oh, okay, what I'm saying? This is cute. We gonna go home and we gonna keep ourselves safe from this virus.
Yeah.
And, we gonna go on quarantine. And like, it was like, let me not exaggerate. It wasn't necessarily cute, but like, it was scary as hell, but we thought it would only last for a few weeks. So it was just like, okay, like we can survive this for a few weeks, and then
another swine flu situation.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll just go back to our normal situations. But yeah, very similar to you, as the weeks went on, as it stretched into summer, as we came in and out of lockdown, in and out of quarantine, it just was starting to become real that, okay, we're not getting out of this anytime soon. And so, especially once we got into the summer, all of a sudden it seemed like every week there was just some news cycle about like Black people, Black bodies being murdered by police. And it was just endless. And that was happening on top of the fact that we were on lockdown. And then it just was this like slow buildup. And then George Floyd happened. And that was just like the eruption of the volcano. And like, obviously this isn't something that, this year like has been bubbling. This has been like, obviously for centuries, but really decades, where like it's become more into like acute focus, where we have regular video evidence of police killing Black people. And so this was just like that culmination where it all exploded, and Oakland exploded. Okay.
Shout out to Oakland.
Shout out to Oakland. But as for us, like we try to be as like socially active as possible. And so I also was in West Oakland. I was downtown Oakland. I live on Telegraph, and child, every single night on Telegraph Avenue, it was some new protest. Some, like, you would just hear gunshots, you would hear fireworks, you would hear the police, you would hear people. And like, I would go out to the protests, and like, you didn't know which protest was real for a second. There was a couple of protests that were actually just Antifa white people trying to just cause destruction. And I remember I ended up in that protest. And I was like, wait.
No, they were out here.
They were out here.
Yeah,
and I was like, these are not my people.
No.
But then I like ended up just documenting it to show like who was destroying Oakland at the time. We were just trying to have peace for Black people, like, that's all we've ever wanted. And so it was just endless, like, every day going out to protests and going to the streets, and it was just unrest. And for me, like, I was super involved, and it just got to a point where, like,
you were too involved.
Yeah, I was too involved. And I was like, wait a second. I got to pull myself out of this, because now I'm feeling anxiety. Every time I'm trying to go to sleep, I hear like sirens go by and I'm getting anxious. I can't sleep, like, you know, crying regularly. It was just too much. So by September, October, I was like, I need to leave Oakland. Like, I need to leave. Not even Oakland specifically. It was really like, I need to leave
America.
Like, this is literally the ghetto. Yeah. Like, this whole situation has been just, you know, especially for us, like, we work as well. So we work 9-to-5 jobs. We're Black women in corporate America. And then on top of that, we're like having to smile at work. And then, but in the background, knowing that no one understands what we're going through and nobody gives a fuck. Like, nobody cares. Like, girl, turn in your report and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that was the most degrading part. Was like having to show up and be productive. Where like my work product was the only thing like my managers or my company cared about when I'm like, you know, dying inside.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like interesting because I think that summer a lot of allies showed up in 2020 that had decided that this is enough. This was the final straw. Wait, we finally understand what's going on with Black people, and we're going to join you guys. And so all of a sudden at work, people are in my inbox, people are in my chats, like, are you okay? I saw what happened. Are you okay? Yes, girl. Oh, if you want to talk, I would never choose to talk to you, but thank you. Like, no, what? So it was just that, like, not only that, having to show up, but that extra burden of like, now everyone's looking at you like, okay, so what should I do? Like, what do I need to do? Like, how can I help? Girl, if you don't Google. But yeah, so it was just a lot. And so I actually took a different route than Elsa. It's September, October, and I'll get into it in our next episode. But I left the country. I dipped out. And for 4 months, I was living abroad and getting my entire life. Okay. It was so healing for me, so necessary, and highly recommend it. Like, there was a ton of Black people that, you know, took the advantage of working remotely and quarantining to leave. And I know there was some controversy around, oh, you're not supposed to be traveling while we're on lockdown and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but
that was a big deal.
Yeah, but, you know, if you did it responsibly and you weren't just like, you know, island hopping all over the place, a lot of us moved to different locations abroad and just made homes there, whether temporarily or for the long term. And we were contributing to local economies, like learning about new cultures and just seeing that America wasn't the final destination for life. And so it was really, really empowering. And yeah, y'all got to stay tuned though to the next episode to see where I went and hear more about that. We're going to talk about the Black expat experience. But for now, that's where I was. And so, yeah, now in 2021, I'm back in Oakland, back in my apartment.
Season 2. You're season 2.
Season 2. Yeah. I'm back in Oakland, back in my apartment. And I'm actually super happy to be back in Oakland. Like, I love this city, so I'm always happy to be here. It just feels, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could be here now. I feel good.
Okay.
Like, being back in Oakland.
So tensions of...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying things are, you know, amazing now. Oakland is still reeling from a lot of different, a lot of the aftermath.
And like, prior to the pandemic.
And prior to that, like, nothing's really changed. Crime went up. You know, homeless is still in the streets. Like, There's still people looking for ways to pay their rent, and you know, I don't know what's going on with like the eviction moratorium, or like you know, all the COVID relief stimuli that was happening last year. I don't know if is that like, do they still have?
I don't think those are being circulated anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know Libby's working, like was doing something for a couple of families, but I think that was.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like I personally, I'm just getting back acclimated. I'm not sure what is being done right in this moment, but I know that people are still suffering. It's still Oakland. So
Yeah.
I feel like last year was, for me, it was not the place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. For my own mental health.
Sure. And I'm sure that, and not just Oakland, I'm sure that was the case in San Francisco, in the city,
in San Francisco,
in Richmond, and like
and
other
I'm sure,
places.
yeah, across the nation. I'm sure like Black, like metropolitan cities like Atlanta, maybe Brooklyn, Chicago have all been just DC suffering. So, but yeah, girl, overall,
we've been through a lot. So that's why when you didn't really see us, like the Simones were going through some things too.
We was going through it, but we tried though. We was on Instagram Live.
We were on Instagram Live
and doing stuff. So we tried.
Yeah.
But I guess like past us, like how have Black people been? Like what's like different for the community from 2019 to now? Like what has been the shift in this new normal?
Sure. And I think that's going to vary because not all Black people are on the same.
Oh yeah, we're not a monolith.
We're not a monolith, but I think the overall theme is just like this limitless life that Black people want to have, right? We're not bound to a certain geography. We are certainly not bound to the United States. So I see a lot of like travel, travel was at the center of Black people's kind of healing or escape.
Remember last fall, everybody was in Tulum.
I know y'all were. I
was one of them. Yes, everybody went to Tulum.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were hating because of that.
Why is that?
Because they were like, oh, like at first Tulum was supposed to be this low key hidden gem that only certain people could go to. But then when a bunch of Black people started flying into Tulum, it was like, oh, Tulum's basic now. Like Tulum, like y'all running Tulum to the ground because Black people are traveling there. When keep in mind, like, first of all, it looks like a lot of Black people were going, but not that many Black people have passports in the first place. So in the US, like only 1/3 of Americans have their passport. And so when it looks like a ton of Black people are going to a place, it's really just, you know, probably social media making it look like a bunch of people are going, but it actually wasn't that many people. Like I think a bunch of us just discovered it. It looked like it was a place that was open to us. Mexican people were very welcoming in that area. They're very welcoming to tourists. And yeah, we went, and Tulum looked like it was lit for everybody, and I'm happy for us.
I saw the photos. I heard the stories. I saw the photos, and you know, I was still in America, so I was stuck here. I think this is is this season 1 or season 2 of the pandemic?
This was season 1.
Yeah. You know what? I wanted so badly to leave, like physically. That's what I said.
I was sending her Jamaica ticket prices, and like, look, girl, it's $200 to go to Montego Bay.
Remember, and I was gonna come see you.
Yeah,
it's just like physically. Again, it was just like physically and mentally. I was just not in the same place. I didn't want to move. I guess I felt very stuck. Yeah, very stuck. And this was like previous to me actually moving back to the South Bay before I bought my place. Like, I didn't know what move to make. It felt like very debilitating to figure out, like, and this was before COVID shots came out, right? This is before.
Yeah, this is before the vaccine.
You know, there was even any encouragement around a vaccine. This is when like Fauci and Trump were at odds. This is when like you couldn't find toilet paper, a hand sanitizer in the stores. Like, this is when it truly seemed like the end of days, right? Like when shit really got real. I was like, I just want to stay here, and I got comfortable in like in this very dark space. Like I got comfortable being discouraged, like being at home, watching that news cycle every day. Child. That same washed out news cycle. I was just like, I need to leave. And I knew I had to leave. Like my body wanted me to leave. Like my spirit wanted me to leave. I was just too scared to like make that move. I didn't know what it was going to be. Yeah. And then, you know, divine timing kicked in and ended up being able to get my place. And it brought me right back to my old hood. And of course, it brought me right back to my parents, right back on, right back to right next to my parents' house.
Yeah.
And that has been critical. But child, it's a lot to think about what we've been through in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like,
and
how
like
many
the
lives were
resilience we've
lost?
had to have, like girl, the lives that have been lost.
The lives that have been lost, like on a serious thing, like for real.
Didn't they say the lives that have been lost to COVID, like in total, is more than like World War I and II combined, or something like that?
I can't confirm that, but I know
It's
it was
wild.
like some wild statistic.
Yeah.
And like that is just jarring as well. Like to see all that devastation, to see it every day, the way that the media has like portrayed death and like normalized death in that way, and the way we're seeing Black bodies online, just, I mean, it was horrific. It was horrific. So, and then even just like our pop culture and our, you know, our pop culture icons that we look up to, you know, the Chadwick Boseman.
Out. Oh, the ones that passed away. Okay. Like the ones that were talking crazy.
Yeah, because like, you know, we turn to entertainment, right, to get us through. We turn to music and entertainment, and like we turn to basketball, we turn to movies. I actually, you know, don't judge me, but I really started watching Marvel movies during
last year.
Yeah, season 1 of the pandemic to like pass time. I had never seen, well, I had seen Black Panther, of course. But I had never seen
She had never seen Marvel. Did you, like, which Marvel movies did you watch?
I think I watched nearly all of them.
You watched like Iron Man.
I watched Iron Man for the first time.
What else? You watched
The
Captain
Avengers.
America,
Yeah.
Avengers. Okay. You watched well, that one just came out, Black Widow.
I didn't see that one.
Okay.
And it was very confusing. I'm still confused. And I watched them out of order.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really got into Marvel
The
movies.
Hulk. Did you watch the Hulk? That was like, we didn't really, that one's
I didn't
kind
watch
of
the
irrelevant.
Hulk.
It's fine.
Oh, the Hulk is neglected.
I know, it's unfortunate. But
So yeah, I got into Marvel movies and, you know, started learning the backstories of all of these things. And yeah, we lost Chadwick Boseman. Like that was crazy to me. Of course, we lost Kobe Bryant, I think January.
Yeah.
So the January previous to
Kobe's kind of like what started this just ripple effect of just constant news. Like every month there was something big that was devastating, or something big that was just wild, shocking, or something big that was just stupid. Like let's not forget Gorilla Glue Girl.
Let's not forget that.
Right.
No.
So it was just
Kanye running for president.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the California fires and the like Australia fires, the California fires. So when you were, I think this was season. Well, we always have fires here, but I think it was like season.
But girl,
1
the sky was red.
The sky was on fire.
Yeah, like we woke up and the sky was orange.
Right. And in the summer out here in the Bay, like, you know, it gets hot. We keep our windows open, but it was Corona, so we thought we keeping our windows open. We're getting good ventilation, but we couldn't even do that because all of the smoke.
The fires and the smoke, exactly. So we were trapped.
We were trapped
within being trapped.
Yeah.
So
it just seemed like it was never ending.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I gotta like, you know, open my laptop, put on a
right.
put on a cute face,
get on Zoom,
acting like it wasn't World War III outside of my door. And speaking of World War III, didn't we almost
did go to war?
Right.
Or we didn't. We almost did. Yes.
With Trump. So
it's been a lot, child.
It's been a lot. So now that I think we're gonna be entering season 3.
Right. Hopefully it's not season 3. I hope it's the tail end of season 2.
Sorry, knock on wood. I didn't mean to say that.
This plastic. But yeah, no. Hopefully it's the tail end of season 2 because this is crazy. But yeah, I think through it all, like for me, one of the things I've noticed the most is like this anti-work movement that has been bubbling up. The Great Resignation, as they call it. Like everybody has been just like, and granted, not everybody can be anti-work. Like you, if you need to get your check. But a lot of people have been taking advantage of remote work. Some people are working 2 remote jobs at once. Some people are like maybe clocking into a job, and you know their bosses who are toxic or talking crazy, they're not taking anymore. They quit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've seen all those Reddit or Twitter screenshots of people quitting on their boss after their boss talks crazy.
No.
Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, they're hilarious.
I need to see that.
Yeah, but yeah, we're just learning that for a lot of us, work in the traditional sense of like clocking in, clocking out, maybe a 9 to 5, like for some of us, we realize that that doesn't have to be life. Like that doesn't have to be the center of our lives. We still have to work to make money. We still have to do things to make money to provide for ourselves and our families, but we don't have to center life around work.
And it's not sustainable.
It's not. It's not.
And I think we saw that. Again, I think it was a very eye-opening experience for everybody that when the world was under siege, like are we going to work?
Right. We got to send this email. We got to clock in to this time clock. We got to make sure we're not 15 minutes late. Like,
we got to close out our project. Like,
right. It doesn't add up. Like, it's not. It's like family became so important. It's always been important. But for a lot of people, we realize like, no, like I want to make sure my relationships are intact, friend, family, romantic, whatever it is. Like, I want to follow.
What? Oh, you heard that?
I heard that.
Okay.
We're going to get into that.
No.
Because, no, I'm just kidding.
Right. Don't lie to these people. Don't lie to these people. It wouldn't be a lie. Don't lie to these people.
It wouldn't be a lie. But anyway, yeah. We just realized that like that's what's important. Like following our passions or like, just doing things that make us happy outside of work is way more important than, grinding ourselves to the ground to keep up with whatever Jones is or whatever our boss is saying. Like,
because Black people, like, I'm up for like upward mobility.
Oh yeah,
I'm up for money have to make. Like I'm all about us getting our checks. But some of us have turned real bougie. Some of us have bought into that bourgeoisie life, and we kind of turned that capitalist life, and we turned our back on our people. You know what I mean? And so I do like to see that like we're tapping into this limitless idea and understanding that like you don't need a corporate company's name behind you to feel valid or to be something or someone. Like you are that person. You are that girl.
You always were.
You always were.
Yeah.
So living in your truth and doing what fulfills you is, if that's seeing the world, which I think is what a lot of Black people tuned into was travel. That means, opening your own business, right? Exercising your like entrepreneurial skills, like that is what I've seen, and that's what I'm excited about most. Yeah, going forward is seeing more Black people do that.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of that, like I will say, we did lose a lot of businesses. So, to all those business owners who like lost a business, I hope like you're staying encouraged and finding other ways, or maybe like trying to find ways to reopen or other avenues. But Black businesses were super hard hit during this pandemic. So, but it also birthed, like you said, it birthed so many entrepreneurs and so many people who were like, you know what, this is my time to start my thing. Yeah. And so, on the flip side, a lot of people started their thing. Yeah. And that's popping. Sure. But yeah, girl, it's been a lot.
It's been a lot. But we're back together now. Yes. Now that in this season 2 has brought us back together in person. Hey. And season 3 of Wokeland, we have some juicy, really good content coming for people, like in store for people. Do we want to talk a little bit about what some of those things may be?
Yeah, we can talk about some of the topics. Well, this is part 1 of our comeback and just like our reintroduction to y'all. Part 2 is going to be like a deeper dive into what Black people were doing, like where, like basically Black expats, like when the people who did leave, like why did you leave? Like what were you doing? Like where did you go? Like we're going to talk about that and get into this sort of like Black expat movement that was kind of born out of the pandemic.
Right. And I know you have a lot to share about that. Because when I say I was living through you, and I was living, even like images that I was seeing like all over social media of like beautiful Black men and women just like traveling the world and so far removed from what it seemed like from what was happening here. I feel like the difference between my experience and your experience, season 1 of the pandemic was totally different.
Oh yeah.
Because of where we were geographically.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that people like learned. Like I know so many people who like moved permanently.
Yeah.
Like not only out of California, but just out of the country.
Yeah.
Because America serves you what? We are not bound to the borders of this country.
Nope. They want you to think you are, but
right. We're not. So I'm super excited for part 2 and to hear more about what you got.
Yeah.
What you had going on in Mexico, and if you brought back any Espanol with tú.
Child, do not drag my Spanish, okay? It is non-existent. But yeah, and then we're also going to talk about this season. Like, we're going to get into the African diaspora. And, you know, as you may or may not know, I'm West African, Elsa's East African, and we're in the Bay, and there's a huge East African and West African community out here. And so we want to just get into like the differences, the similarities, how each group approaches life in the Bay. Like, yeah, that one's going to be juicy.
Always. We know that.
Because, you know, Africans love to talk. So, yeah. But yeah, we're going to be talking about like the vaccine. We're going to be talking about the state of Black dating. You know who popped off in season 1 of the pandemic?
Who popped off?
You know who popped off because you was tuned in. You were tuned in, and you know who I'm talking about.
I hate
girl. This girl was tuned in. Okay,
but who introduced me to this person?
I don't know.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that.
It wasn't me who introduced you.
You didn't introduce me?
No, because I was introduced by a mutual friend, the same person who introduced you.
Okay, but
so
you better call the name. Don't let
you better call the name. That's your man. You be watching.
That is not my man. And I stopped watching him. Kevin Samuels. Popped off in season 1 of the pandemic.
He did. He took advantage of all the lonely men at home, men and women in the house, and you know,
a mess.
Came through with his teachings. His philosophy. His philosophy.
Yeah. And I mean, I did. First of all, don't do that. We both,
were you not?
You didn't watch any of his videos?
I have seen his videos.
Wait, did we not watch some together?
We may have watched
because I recall
1 or 2 together.
A few episodes.
However, really, Elsa?
Really, girl. But I would say again, like it was entertainment.
It was
entertainment
until it wasn't.
Until it was not.
Okay, it was hella funny for a minute, then it was like, wait a minute, this dude is serious.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, for us, it was just like, wow, we cannot believe somebody would spew these kinds of things confidently, and people, you know, bought into it.
Yeah.
And people were like calling in, and women were calling in and really seeking his advice, like it was the gospel.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being just a tragedy.
He's still popping though, and
he still gets views.
He's still popping, and like
not for me,
right? Not for me, but you know, and I'm sure some people listening to us will watch his videos, which you know, do you? But it's weird because some of what he says, like in the beginning, it was like, okay, I kind of see where he's coming from. He was saying things to both sides that were equally blunt. Direct and straightforward, and low-key out of pocket, and it was just like, okay, well, all right, that kind of makes sense. But then it just like, I don't know if the fame went to his head or what, but it just slowly devolved.
Yeah.
And from there, it's like, okay, y'all too far gone for me, child.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So we gon'.
But you're right. He did. Oh my God, he did pop off season 1.
Yeah, that's when I don't think anyone knew Kevin Samuels before 2020. I mean, I'm sure people did, but like that's when he really became famous. Yeah. So I'm like,
okay. So we're gonna have to talk about him on our dating episode.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the state of Black dating is under.
It's in disarray.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, it's SOS. We gonna get into that, and then we're gonna talk about like colorism. We're gonna talk about the music and art and dance scene in the Bay.
Yes.
And all that good stuff. We got a lot of dope topics this season, so I'm excited.
Me too.
Yes.
So should we get the people part 2?
We should get the people part 2. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, thank y'all for listening to part 1. This was really just us riffing and like reintroducing ourselves back to y'all.
Getting y'all acclimated.
Yes. As always, if you want to subscribe, if you're not already, if you just randomly found this podcast, we are Wokeland Podcast. On Instagram, we are at Wokeland. You can find us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you find podcasts. We'll be there. And now we're about to be on video. So I don't know where this video is going to live. Maybe it'll be on like YouTube. I don't know.
We don't know.
It'll be somewhere. Yeah. But thank you guys for listening. And with that, stay woke.